Welcome back, everybody. Another season of Serie A Addicts. Marco Romano and Tito
Tito,
Yang
yeah.
here for the Serie A 2026-2027 campaign.
What?
First match day opening things up this last weekend. All teams in action. So we're gonna talk about look at some highlights, give our reactions, right? Talk a little bit about the most exciting matches,
Yeah.
some of the surprises, some things that went down as well before, and after these matchups as well as give you our predictions for this season of the Serie A. Anything else, Tito, before kind of getting into the games that you wanted to call out?
Yeah, we want to thank everybody, right, who joins us from last season. This season is gonna be a couple of changes. We're gonna try a couple of new things. Try not to get banned, and try not to get shadow banned. Also, we have
No
these
promises.
amazing We Kick Balls mugs, and
Hell yeah.
they're gonna be for sale for everybody who likes, taking sweets with swag.
Yes, sir. Good opening weekend. We didn't have any marquee matchups, right? None of the big teams playing against each other. Some
Yeah,
matchups that I thought were going to be better than they actually were. But for me, it's good that we actually waited until the first game and maybe a little bit of cheating before giving our predictions because, right, it's
little
certainly
bit.
just the first game of the season. But kind of some teams that underperformed were underwhelming. Some
Yeah,
teams that actually surprised me a little bit with their performance. So we'll
we
get all into that.
we did have some predictions in the last episode, right? Like the episode we did before last week, where we talked about the transfer market a little bit, right? And also, we should highlight some of like the most recent moves in the transfer market since that episode happened.
True.
At least the big names that came in, if at all, if they are big names, right? There's a couple of interesting names that came in. But also, I want to remind everyone who is watching us from anywhere in the world to like and subscribe and comment and say how we're wrong, say how we're right, say who you got for this season Serie A. What are your predictions? Who's gonna be the winner? Who's gonna be the loser? All of that good stuff. That's what we're gonna talk about.
We want to get right into it with the defending or current champions, I should say, Inter playing against newly relegated back in the Serie A, Monza, a squad that a lot of
Yeah.
folks have
Newly
actually getting
newly
relegated
promoted, you
again,
mean.
but
Promoted.
it's newly promoted, exactly, not newly relegated.
Yeah.
Good call. Newly promoted Monza, right? Obviously, not that long ago they were in the Serie A, so getting back into the Serie A. Unfortunately for them, drawing the first matchup against probably the best team in the Serie A right now on paper. Inter getting the victory
Yeah.
4-1, and we can look at some of the highlights, talk about some of the things that definitely stood out. For
Yeah, let's do
me,
it.
very happy for Pio Esposito. I think he was definitely one of the standouts for Inter Milan
Absolutely.
with his hold up play. There you see
Yep.
Pio, as well as Andy Diouf playing in an unnatural position, playing in the right wing, but has
Yeah.
been doing amazing. Definitely a player that can not only take on defenders one on one a lot better than what Luis Enrique has been doing, but
Yeah.
Shalanoglu starting off with
That was a
a
rocket.
rocket launcher.
That was a rocket.
Typical Charanoglu goal from outside of the box.
Yeah, you
Nice
see?
assist from Andy Diouf, who had a brace of assists in this match for
Yeah, that
Inter
was
and
that
got
was
the man of the match as well.
questionable defending there by Akanji on that one.
Yeah, there are certainly a couple of players. I would say Akanji, Lautaro, that you could tell are not at 100% still.
Yeah,
Haven't recovered
Lautaro
from
had a long
playing in
World
the
Cup.
World Cup.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so did Akanji, but Akanji very last days ago in that goal, great goal by Monza. Actually surprised and props to Monza. They had a great first half and ended 1-1 going into halftime.
yeah,
And Monza did put up a good fight, missing their keeper, missing a couple of key players. So props to them. That was a
yeah,
bad clearance by the keeper and an easy tapping for Zielinski.
yeah. That was a very
Good to
smart
see
shot,
him getting
though,
back on
right?
the score sheet.
Because Zielinski, if he
Yeah, the
doesn't,
way he hit it,
If he
where
doesn't
it
hit it
bounced on
against
the
the
ground.
ground, it doesn't go over the
Yeah,
keeper, right? Because he was going straight at the keeper. So the fact that he hit it straight against the grass was, that's what made the goal
yeah.
brilliant. Basically, this is a really
And
good
very
pass.
technical player that had a very great season last year, coming up off a bad season under Inzaghi. That was
Yeah,
a great back heel goal by
that's
Pio.
class. That's class. That's
Yeah,
gonna go in his highlight
Pio.
reel forever.
As far as forwards for Inter, again Lautaro kind of left a lot to be expected. On his first game back, Pio seems sharp. His hold up play was awesome. I
Yeah,
think even when Boni came on, they Inter played a little bit better. Again, Pio there with some hold up play, setting up Bisek
yeah.
for his first goal of the
They're
season.
they're
Nice to see
doing
Bisek as well.
they're doing some very nice things. I feel in terms of, because you mentioned Lautaro leaved a lot to be desired, but honestly, I felt like Lautaro did put in the work. Like maybe he didn't show up in the score sheet, but he does create a lot of space. And if you looked at that, even that last highlight where Pio served up the ball for Bisek, Lautaro was operating a couple of yards back, like maybe 10 yards back of where Pio was operating. And I think he those types of movements that he makes sometimes confuse defenders and open up spaces because the defenders don't know whether they need to like run up to where Lautaro is or sit back, and then sometimes that indecision is what opens up the room for that pass to
Yeah.
space, and
But I'm saying more in this game, right? Lautaro, you're used to seeing him put pressure. He's the first defender on the field for Inter, and
mm,
from that standpoint, in this match, you could tell that he wasn't going 100%,
yep,
right? He was
from an
he
energy
was more
perspective for
playing
sure.
messy ball, like messy ball, choosing
Yeah,
his spots, walking around the pitch a lot. Again, I think when Boni
smart.
came on, I kind of, which is awesome for Inter because they had essentially their two strikers that come off the bench played the best in this particular matchup. Boni played great, recovered one ball for one of the goals for Inter. But Pio definitely one of the standout performers. Again, I know Andy Diouf got the man of the match, and he's been playing awesome, which is great because we didn't have Jet Spence available for this match. And to your point about new signings, right? Inter did sign Curtis Jones to wrap up their market,
Yeah,
at least on the way in my opinion. But Curtis Jones wasn't available for this one either. But good to have Andy Diouf be that second option for a position that we know is going to be Jet Spence starting in that position. But Andy Diouf has been playing awesome and rightfully gets the man of the match for this game. But just again lopsided. I
he's
know
very active.
Monza just got promoted,
Yeah,
but actually I was surprised a little bit by Monza again. They were down a couple of key players. They were down their starting goalkeeper. Did put up a good fight in the first half against Inter. So I actually have a little bit more hopes from them this season than some of the other clubs that I saw play over the weekend.
yeah. I feel like Inter, honestly, like it's hard to judge Inter on this performance too. Like the first half felt like more of like a feeling out period, and then in the second half,
Yeah.
Inter was basically like, no, listen, we're Inter, right? Like we're not gonna be doing this with Monza, and then they kind of switched it up. And I think Inter is one of those teams this season that you're not gonna know how good they are until they play the big ones, right? Like the big teams, because they they're gonna crush most of these small teams just by the sheer depth and of their talent, of the talent in their squad.
Yeah, especially the depth, right? Because I think compared to everybody else, just from who they're bringing off the bench, a Curtis Jones, a Stankovic, a Susic, right? A
Yeah,
Pio Esposito,
yeah.
Boni, right? It's like pick your poison. Even in the goalkeeping spot, I would say that's another one that I felt still I'm kind of on the fence whether Martinez should be the starting
And he could have done
goalkeeper
better on
instead
that
of
goal
Provedel,
too. Like I feel, yeah,
and he made a couple of mistakes that could have been costly throughout the match as
yep,
well. That's one position that I think I'm still on the fence. I think the
yep.
same is going to stay the same. Maybe we'll see some of the either Sucic or Stankovic step up, but for right now, Zelinski has been playing awesome,
I think
and
Provedel
having
should
two
start
two
though.
weapons.
Yeah,
That who should start?
Provedel. I think Provedel was having like a great preseason. I think he was
Yeah.
playing better than Martinez, and I think he'll probably get a shot. I'm sure.
Yeah, the thing with Martinez is Kibu likes him because he's got that Masia kind of upbringing. No, plays better with the ball in his feet, but
Yeah,
sometimes puts himself in a kind of bad position that
that's
can
what
be
happens. Yeah,
costly for the team. I think Provedel has a lot more confidence, and I would kind of give him the nudge now. But the good thing is that Inter are going to be playing in a lot of different tournaments and cups, so the fact that they are so deep and have great subs on for each position pretty much is going to help them out along through the course of the season.
yeah, and it's gonna be a long one, and you got a lot of competitions that they're playing in.
Mhm.
You know. So, what was the next match on the agenda
We
that we
had
had?
Udinese and Como, right? Como being one of the surprises for many last season. I know I had them finishing fifth, but they ended up securing a spot in the Champions League. For this season, I would say a little bit lackluster from Fabregas and Club on this one. I know Udinese is a great team, but they had lost some key players like Ata, right, who went over to Fiorentina.
Yeah,
So I was a little bit surprised with this match. Granted, it's the first match of the season; anything can happen. But I was surprised that Como were only able to walk away with that 1 point, especially after all the things they've done during this transfer market.
yeah, but they're gonna need also a little bit of time to get their some other new people to gel. And also
Mm-hmm.
the last season was a miracle season, so nobody had any expectations. I feel like this season is gonna be a lot more pressure on them because they people already know what they can do. Last season was like, well, let's see what they can do. Now they did what they did, and now the expectations are gonna be higher. So people are gonna be expecting Como, especially after what you just said. It's like they brought in some
They
players.
made a splash
They made
in the
it.
market.
It's like a big investment, right, on some players, and they're talking about supposedly them getting Moise Kean as well,
Mm.
which would
Which he
be
didn't start for Fiorentina, and we'll talk about that matchup. That would be
yeah,
a huge pickup for
yeah.
Como.
He did not start for Fiorentina. He only came in like when they were already beyond salvation. And he
Yeah.
he was active. He should have scored probably. He had like a one on one with the keeper. Probably should have put in, but still, that's kind of his style of things. He needs 3, 4 chances, and he'll put in one at least. Um, but we're not talking about that game yet. Como
No,
Udinese,
but it
Udinese was another team that are getting like kind of like their stuff together, right? Because they
yeah.
also moved a couple of players around. And so I feel like this game, I'm surprised. I thought Como was gonna win, but but Udinese is one of those teams that if you're not like 100%, they can beat anybody.
They're still very physical, very strong and organized
Yeah,
team. I was surprised, right? Because Ata certainly losing Ata is a blow. He had a great
it's a
season
big deal. Yeah,
last year. But they show character. They have some good pickups as well. Scored a great goal. Como tied it. I like the Como's kit as well. Looking pretty nice.
you like
But
it? You
a
like
little
it?
bit
I
disappointing.
don't love the red on blue stuff, but it
I
looks
like it.
kind
It
of
kind of looks kind of old school.
it looks old school. It does.
I like that aspect of it. It looks like a vintage kind of old school kind of kit. But yeah, I was expecting a little bit more from Como, and it's going to be interesting for me just to keep an eye on Como to see how they do now that they are in the Champions League. They have a lot more games in their schedule. They're not as deep as some of the other clubs in Serie A. So
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see if they're able to make a run in the Champions League, and what impact that has on their Serie A campaign as well.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna take a toll because most of those players are not used to playing 2 tournaments at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, the Coppa Italia is not like a taxing tournament, just like the Champions League is, because you're not doing that type of traveling. Like the thing that kills you with the Champions League is that you have to travel, go play a game, and then travel and come back, and that it just interrupts your training flow, like everything that your plan, your biorhythm, everything. Right, so I think now we're gonna see like these players for Como the Baturinas and the Dubicas and those people We're gonna see whether they can really handle the rigors of playing in a team that became a big team overnight, basically.
And see if they keep the same hunger, right? Because some of these players also are getting paid now, right? They have new contracts. Um, so let's see if Fabregas can take another step in the right direction this season with Como. I think they overachieved last season. Wasn't expecting for them to make the Champions League, so got to give them props.
Yep.
But not the best outing to set things off here for the new campaign for Como. And good point for Udinese as they're also continuing to figure things out.
Yeah, it's early
The next
days.
matchup was two other teams that I feel are going to be mid-table teams this season. Parma playing against Cagliari. Cagliari coming away with a 1-0 victory. Again, I think for neither of these teams, unfortunately, I have a ton of expectations this
Yeah.
season. And after this match, nothing has changed, unfortunately. I think they still need to figure things out on the pitch. But yeah, this was a kind of a boring, expectedly boring matchup. Esposito still with the drama
I mean,
at
that was a hell of
Cagliari.
a goal, though.
Oh, golazo. That was a hell of a goal, at least for Cagliari to get the 1
Yeah.
0 victory. But again, the two teams that I think are going to be mid table, hopefully give us a lot more to talk about than just the one great goal that Cagliari scored on this one. But let's see. Hopefully, I'm mistaken, but I think these are going to be two mid table teams that don't really have a shot to do anything meaningful this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think Parma are gonna be fighting to get into the mid-table positions. They're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna get relegated, but I don't think that they're gonna be anywhere near like the Champions League
No,
position or
they're
like
not going to be competitive by
The
any means.
European positions, like not near
No.
the top 10. And then Cagliari, I think is gonna be one of the relegation candidates, to be honest, because I didn't even really see like a lot of movement from them in order to get prepped
Nope.
to stay up this season. So I don't know. That's gonna be a tough season for those two teams, because it seems like a lot of teams reinforce themselves. Actually, I was looking at a graph, right, that they were showing on that transfer market, that site, and it was showing like the leagues that added the most value to, in terms of player value, the leagues that added the
Mm-hmm.
most value to their league during the transfer market, and the Serie A was actually first in that list. So
That's good. And listen, I don't mind it with like Inter, for example, picking up John Stones on a free jet spends at a pretty good price tag, especially after the World Cup he had, a Curtis Jones. And that's what you got to do. You got to pick up talent, people that are players that are going to waste in the Premiership and are just spending money like crazy, and players
yeah,
just fade into darkness whenever they leave the teams where leagues where they're doing well and just go to the Premiership, like Chiesa, right?
yeah.
Moroni. We've talked about some of the Italians that have gone over there. We would love to see them playing frequently in Serie A. I think a
The
lot
other,
of teams in Serie A can use somebody like Chiesa.
hey, listen, I'm seeing another interesting tendency too, because I'm seeing some of these players that are going to the Saudi league. They're taking their money for like 1 or 2 years, and then they're coming to Italy. Like it seems like something that Kessie might do. Like you go to the Saudi league for like a year or so or two, you get like a boatload of money, like 22 million a year or some ridiculous shit like that. And then basically you made in like 2 seasons, you make what you would have made in 10 years playing in Spain
Yep.
or in Italy. And then you just come back and you play wherever the hell
Yep.
you want, because
Exactly.
now money is not a thing
Yeah.
anymore.
Yep. Yep. It's nice to see, and hopefully, I know that you and the Juventinos are going to be happy if that happens. If Kese can come in and replace finally your captain Locatelli, the best player in the Juventus
Bro,
squad right now.
listen, man, if Kessie comes to Juve, if Frank Kessie comes to Juve and Locatelli still starts, I'm gonna be fucking enraged, bro. You know
There's
what I
no way
mean?
that would go down.
Dude,
But
it's just they might say, "Hey, Locatelli is the only Italian we have.
no,
You have to
we'll,
start
we'll,
him."
we'll, we'll get to Juve. Before
Yeah.
getting to Juve, we had another team that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on this season. Napoli, uh, coming off a good season
Nipples.
last year.
I call them nipples.
Nipples played against Genoa
Naples.
and had a and had a good performance in their first match. Especially Kevin De Bruyne, who was one of those players who spent the majority
Yeah.
of last season on the injury list for Napoli.
Hey,
I think if they would have had him,
let me pull up the let me put up the highlights for Napoli. And while I'm doing that, I want to send a shout out to the people at Bella Trattoria who have very ugly Juve Merda stickers on their bar, but I will forgive them because
cheers to that.
they make
Cheers to
a
that.
delicious squid ink gnocchi with shrimp, which is somebody. If you're in San Francisco, you should try it. Bella Trattoria is a great restaurant, but Napoli still sucks,
Yeah,
and
but
you guys suck
let
for
him
hating
know
you.
that you're a Juventus fan when you do visit them.
That's true. I don't think I'm gonna be able to go there anymore now. Like the fact that I just said that, it's gonna be a problem. But all right,
But
let's
yeah,
see what the nipples did.
good showing from Napoli. I'm still
I
missing
almost got you
Rashica
calling them nipples.
from uh, again, De Bruyne was the standout in this match for sure. I think they're going to be a solid squad. Still not convinced they're contenders this
Bro,
season, to be
Allegri's gonna
honest.
fuck that up
They have Allegri,
February.
right? They lost some
Yeah,
players.
yeah,
Um, I think they didn't do a lot to improve their squad. I think some of the
true.
players that shined last season are going to get a little bit more time. I think
Well, they
Allegri did say he's batshit crazy, but he's going to be solid. But I don't think they're going to be contenders because I know there's going to come a point where De Bruyne and some of the other players get injured, and then their form is going to drop. And I just don't think they're going to be a consistent team this season for now.
Yeah, I don't believe in Napoli either. Like the thing is, I know Allegri. Like, listen, you look at them right now, and I guarantee you, by match day like 18 or 19, they're gonna be close to the top of the table, maybe 2 points off of Inter or like 1 point off, or chasing their coattails. And then in the 2 weeks after that, the team's just gonna
They're gonna
stop winning. They're gonna start drawing a bunch of teams. De Bruyne is gonna injure his groin, and people just like people are gonna stop scoring. Hoyland is not gonna be able to score anymore. Something's gonna happen. Allegri's gonna start criticizing some players. Players are gonna get pissed at Allegri. Allegri's gonna take his jacket off. He's gonna throw it on the ground. You're gonna get ejected from a game. Napoli's gonna go in a slump, and they're probably gonna end up like fourth.
I don't know. I like I at least like their attitude in this match, especially De Bruyne. I'm a little bit iffy on his goal because it certainly looked
That was
like
a
he pushed
foul.
the defender in the back. In the back, that was a one that was a little bit sus that
Yeah.
VAR didn't turn that goal
Listen,
around. But
man. If a black player had done that to Kevin De Bruyne, they would have called a foul, no
yeah, it would
question,
have been murder
because
charges.
referees are racist as hell. Oh
Well,
no, I said that. We're getting
it
shadow banned.
certainly. I'm not gonna say that, but I'm gonna say it definitely looked like a foul, especially when I saw the replay, which is what I was extremely surprised that it wasn't a bigger deal in the actual match. Um, and Vergara's goal barely crossed the line as well. And the
Yeah,
first time
that
I
was
saw it
close.
live, I was again a little bit sus. I was
Yeah,
pretty sure it didn't cross the line, and then they put the
yeah.
graph, right, the animation that anybody could do in AI showing that it crossed the line.
You can put that
So
ball
now
wherever you want, bro. I don't want to see the animation. I don't
yeah.
want to see it.
For me, it's stupid. You have a lot of different angles. You could just put the actual
Yeah,
footage. But again, I
yeah.
digress. It's the same for offsides. But
Same.
3 points for Napoli, but not a convincing victory at all. Again, kind of showing what I feel that they're going to be a good team, but they're not going to be consistent enough to contend for
Yeah.
anything, unfortunately, this season, unless they make some changes throughout the season and some other teams have some injuries. But I think comparing them to the other top clubs in Serie A right now, it's going to be a tall ask, and I'm sorry for all those Napoli fans, but
I'm not sorry for
I
anybody.
think they're going to do better than they did last season this go around.
I hope
But
they
hey, they got 3 points. They got 3 points. So let's see.
yeah, listen. Like I hope they do better than last season in Europe. Uh, I don't want them doing better than last season in the Serie A for sure, and I don't see them
I
doing
don't
better
think they're I don't
than
think
last
they're gonna
season in the
do
Serie A.
anything in Europe or in the Serie A, unfortunately, this season. But we'll kind of give our predictions right after the couple of matchups that we have. We had Lecce playing Venezia for the next
Re-
matchup, 2
really,
nil
that was the
victory.
thing. They did that.
Yeah, bro. You didn't see that matchup? You didn't have it on your calendar?
No, I missed that one. I gotta be honest. I didn't see this game. I didn't see Lecce versus Venezia, but I'm sure it was riveting match, full of excitement.
Not really. But Venezia kind of just
That was terrible
confirmed
defending right
what I've
there,
been feeling,
actually.
that they're probably going to be high contenders to get relegated uh,
Yeah.
to Serie B this season. Gorter and Thiago Gabriel with the goals for Lecce. Lecce looked actually pretty solid, but obviously just
But
playing against Venezia
what was that
couldn't really
defender doing
gauge.
there? Like that was a terrible clearance. Like he just left it there. Like you
Yeah,
can't do that in this at this level, man. Unless you're playing against Juve and then Locatelli takes that shot and it would have ended up in the third row of the fans.
that
But
was a
that's a really
crazy
good
header
header.
goal.
It's a
Yeah,
good
I'm
header.
surprised that the dude Thiago Gabriel didn't die.
He got up there.
The way he contorted his body to get that one on the back of the net.
He got up
But
there,
solid goal.
man.
That's a good way to start the season. Again, right, not really still testing your mettle against a team like Venezia, who again, in my opinion, are going to be one of the favorites to get relegated back to Serie B this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so too. Well, unless something changes dramatically, right? But like right now, Monza, Venezia, and Cagliari are not looking great. We could almost and Frosinone looked better than them, I think. But then again, you were helped a lot. But we'll talk about that when we talk about it.
Yeah. No, that's the next matchup that we have on the docket, right? So speaking about another team in contention to get relegated, Juventus.
Yeah.
Juventus started their 2026-2027 campaign. Obviously, with Kolo Muani back in up front for Juve, which is a good thing, even though he missed a complete sitter on this one.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
Should have had
crazy.
at least one goal.
Yeah,
The
bro.
only goal for
You gotta
Juve
make that.
actually came from Bremer, from a very nice assist by Conceição.
Yeah, we just saw that.
But yeah, another team that certainly left a lot more from an expectation standpoint. In Juve, I was expecting them to
Mm,
come out guns
all right, man.
blazing,
Listen,
so
listen,
I was a little bit
listen.
disappointed.
Look, look, look. I think I honestly, like, I watching the entire match. I felt like Juve could have probably scored 4 or 5 goals. Like they were just terrible in the final third, right? Which is something that was happening last season as
Which
well.
was a
Because
problem last season. Yep.
Vicario had a single save to make the entire game. I don't think they even shot at him,
It's
you know?
definitely a huge improvement between the posts for Juve with Vicario joining.
Yeah, except for the fact that he got injured in the final minutes of this match and Perin had to come in, even though Perin was already agreed to transfer to Palermo. And so Juve finally managed to sell their goalkeepers. So Di Gregorio is going to Bournemouth on loan.
What?
Buy Di Gregorio. You can go model there, like you buy yourself a little beach towel and you go by the side like that. And then you do that there at Bournemouth with the British. And then we sent Perin to Palermo because Palermo need to get back into Serie A. They're in Serie B right now, and they offered Perin a really nice contract
So
to go be
Perin played at Palermo, if I'm not mistaken, right? So he
before. I think
okay.
no. I think he was in another. I don't know. I don't remember now. I
Wasn't
think
it Lazio, Palermo, and then Lazio?
no. I think he was like at Genoa or something like that, or Bologna or some of the sort. I would have to look that up. I don't really remember, but we got rid of two goalkeepers, and we got two goalkeepers. The other one that just joined is Gravara. Um, so now we're gonna have two goalkeepers with Vicario
But
and
it's
Gravara.
crazy that you got rid of your two goalkeepers so close to the end of the transfer market at the same time, pretty much.
Yeah. And then
But
we brought
no,
in the two
great
almost at
pickup.
the same time. Gravara's also a good
You need
pickup.
a Vicario, right? A team like Juventus not having a great goalkeeper, and you're able to get a great Italian goalkeeper, right?
Yeah.
Donnarumma's backup in the national team,
Yeah.
which Inter were gunning for. I think Provedel is a good signing for Inter as well, right? And another one that's consistently been consistent in the Serie A.
Yeah.
Vicario, I think, was an amazing pickup. It's going to make a huge difference for Juve. I think Di Gregorio was just a huge liability last season.
Hey, and listen, Gravara's not a bad pickup either. Gravara was was a goalkeeper for Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga. He played 36 matches last season,
Mm.
right? So he's not like
Yeah,
it
but
wasn't
it's
like
not like a Inter situation where there's a debate to be had whether Provedel or Martinez should start. I think at Juve, the clear first choice is Vicario.
yeah. I mean, honestly not even because Vicario was also coming from a season that was so. So if you look at it from the perspective of who had the better season the year before, I think Gravara might have had even a better season than Vicario. Vicario, unfortunately, Gravara's team didn't do well either. Um, you know, because Wolfsburg got relegated. But the the fact is they brought them both on loan with an option to buy, right? Like so, there's no obligation on either one. So you were basically did goalkeeper tryouts right now, right? Like they got two goalkeepers. They expect, like you said, they expect Vicario to start, but I would expect to also see Gravara get enough playing time, right? Like in the cups, and when we play in the Europa League, he might play the next league match, stuff like that, right? I thought it was a good market. As far as the match, like we were saying before, I felt it was a good performance by Juve from the perspective that they didn't really struggle a lot. Like there weren't really a lot of
Yeah, no,
spells
they
where,
dominated the game, possession, had
yeah,
way more
completely.
attempts on goal and shots on goal.
They're just very
Uh,
wasteful in front of
yeah,
goal.
it's from that aspect. That's where it was just disappointing, right? You were expecting now with Colomwani, which I think he's gonna turn around. He's not gonna miss a lot of the sitters like he missed and on this match.
Yeah, I mean, he
Same
hadn't
McKenny.
played for a while, and he wasn't
McKenny
in the
didn't have the
preseason.
best match either, but I know that's going to change. I think for me
Yeah.
right now, Juve, Shelley, not so much a concern, even though he didn't have a good
He was
first match for
perfect.
Juve.
Cambiaso was
But
shit. Locatelli was shit. It was the same
yeah,
story as last season. They're both shit. Douglas Luiz had a really good game. I really like him. He's playing really. He's good with the ball, man. Like, and that's what we need in the midfield. Not this idiot. The only thing he can do is pass it sideways or pass it back or throw it to the crowd. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
like I'm just sick of watching Locatelli play in the midfield because it just makes me want to vomit every time I watch him
Well,
on the
right.
ball. You know?
Hopefully, right, the transfer market's not over. Maybe the Kessie right transfer does happen. I think that
Yeah.
would be a solid replacement for Locatelli. Also, we got to talk about it while right. Kenan Yildiz, one of the YMCA
Yeah, YMCA was literally like, you know what I mean?
one of the YMCA Juventus squad going down with an injury, out 2 to 3 months. Unfortunately, and the one of the best players last season for Juve. But luckily, you
Yeah.
have Boga right to fill in the interim. I think that's something that you have on both sides, right, with Segrova and Conceição on the right, and with Yildiz and Boga on the left. At least you have solid options, but obviously, I think that's going to certainly have an impact for Juve in the next couple of months as they start their campaign with Kenan Yildiz going down with an injury and being out 2 to 3 months.
You know what's gonna happen with that? Kenan Yildiz is gonna be injured. He's gonna be out for 3 months, and Jeremy Boga is gonna play amazingly.
I
And
wouldn't be
then when
surprised.
Yildiz comes back, it's gonna be some shit. It's gonna be like a similar situation to like Vinicius Jr. at Real Madrid, like when Ronaldo left and they're looking for a pretty white Ronaldo replacement, but they had, this Brazilian who could actually ball and they got to play him because he's good. So Boga is similar. Boga is a solid footballer, great
Hmm.
instincts, very fast, take on his man. I think sometimes he makes better decisions than Yildiz when he's on the ball as well because he's older, right? He's more mature. He's played more. He's got more experience playing in Serie A. So I don't honestly. I'm heartbroken that Yildiz is gonna be broken for 3 months. That sucks because I love watching him play. He's like a very entertaining player, but at the same time, I don't feel like Juve lose that much from being a threat perspective because we have Alay Begovic. We have Alay Begovic is nasty, and Jeremy Boga during the time where he replaced Yildiz last season scored way more goals than Yildiz had scored playing in the last couple months. So again, if we had lost somebody like a center back like Bremer again, you know,
Yeah, that definitely would be
I'd
a
be
huge
more
loss,
worried.
especially in my opinion, which I think it's still one of the gaps with Juve and Kelly.
Yeah,
I'm good with Bremen, but I think Kelly
yeah,
as well is another one of those positions that I'm on the fence when I look at U.S. starting lineup, especially for this match.
yeah. The other thing is, if you watch Colomani in this is Frosinone match, he still he still needs to get his rhythm back. But you can see the way that
Yeah.
he already kind of gets along with the rest of the midfield. Like, there's very good vibes with McKennie, very good vibes with Yildiz there. And the other thing is when Zagrova came in, he was dangerous as hell as well. So again, like I think US got enough weapons, and we'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
I think Juve just got like played like Inter did in the first half, but they just didn't have that change of gear at some point in the match. They
They
kind of
just don't have
coasted.
the quality, bro. They don't have the
Yeah.
quality Inter has. Like who from Juve
Hey,
can come on and and
we get an
and, and
AI
score?
agent to clip that and send it to.
How are they gonna score a goal? Like you see the goal that Chalanoglu scored. We don't have that. Like most teams in Serie A don't have a Chalanoglu, a Zielinski,
And we
you
have
know,
two of them. Yeah,
people that can shoot from the edge of the
from
you
outside
know
the
you
box. Yeah.
know how scared the opposing defense is every time they get is imagine you have Di Marco running
Yeah.
at you on the left flank and you're a defender and that motherfucker's about to cross it. Like
Yeah.
imagine the fear
And you have
that
Pio
if
in the middle
then you
as
got
well.
Pio, and then the fear
Oh,
of if I don't head this far enough out, and this stays
yeah.
anywhere near the edge of the box, and Chalanoglu or Zielinski grab it, we are fucked. This is a goal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it. That's
You
scary.
always need one of those players. I think Inter didn't have it until they signed Shalanoglu, right? Since
Yeah.
Snyder. You always need a threat from outside the box to make force
Exactly.
that defense to break the line. You
Yeah.
have to close out and create
Mm-hmm.
space for other players in doing so. So
Yeah.
I think Yildiz is one of those players that is good from outside the box. I
Yeah.
think
But
that's one of the things
we don't
that
we don't have
Segrova
another
kind of
one.
lacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have two of them right now in Zielinski and Chalanoglu,
Yeah.
both starting. So it's double the threat. Opens up, gives Dimarco more space, gives Bastoni a little bit more space when he
Yeah.
comes up. It's gonna be interesting to see when Spence is playing as well. So I think yeah, like Juve still need a couple of those players. I think that's something that even bringing in
Yeah.
Kessie, he doesn't have
It
that
still
quality.
doesn't have it. Yeah. It
Yeah.
still doesn't have it.
So it's gonna be
That
something that you are gonna lack
listen,
for
bro.
sure.
We have Juve haven't had that since we let Pjanic go. That's the fact of the matter.
Yeah, just
Since
that type
Pjanic
of
left,
player. Yep.
no quality whatsoever shooting from outside from the midfield, and
Yeah.
it's literally like having one less way to score. It makes you a weaker team automatically.
Yeah.
And most teams don't have that. If you think about it, right? Like think what other Serie A team has like good shooters from the outside? Milan had Modric. Modric is gone now, isn't
No,
he?
say
You
De
know,
Bruyne,
De
Napoli
Bro,
has
De
one.
Bruyne, Napoli's got De Bruyne and Scotty McTominay, who's pretty good at
Yeah.
it too. And then Ata is good at that.
I
Like
mean,
there's
Milan had Modric.
Yeah, Malinovsky is good at it. But
Yeah.
like who else? Like
Well,
Milan.
there
I
there
think,
are some players, but
bro. There's like honestly, there's like, let's say there's 8 players in the Serie A who are actually good at shooting from the outside. 3 of them play at Inter. Like it's not even fair. You know what I mean? So
yes,
it's what
we
it
know,
is. What it is, bro. Like
and we love it. We
yeah,
love it.
that's just the
But
reality we
but
got to deal with
but
right now.
I still think UN. We'll give our predictions right before we wrap up the video. But US still dominated, right? But still seeing signs, like you said, about some of the things that they were lacking last season.
Yep.
Uh, just being able to put that finishing touch, being able to score
Yeah.
goals. I think again, I'm faithful in Colomani. He's been at Juve before, and
Yeah.
now Spalletti. Having Spalletti for the full season, I think, is going to be another
Colomani is
thing
gonna
that
kill
makes a
it.
difference.
And the other thing we didn't mention is that's not Juve yet because Lukumi. We signed Lukumi. You think that guy's not
True,
gonna make a huge difference
true.
in the back?
Yeah.
So that's not the team. When we have the team, it's probably gonna look a little bit different. When we have everybody, but
Hopefully, you just need to play like that matchup against Inter. That's when they get pumped and they'll change their season. They probably end up winning like 3-2 and light a fire under them.
that's what
Um,
typically happens.
but
We'll see.
then we had Torino, the other team that plays from Torino, playing against the other team from Milano. We got Torino
Milano.
versus Milan.
Wait. Who?
Ended in a 2-1 victory for Milan. I think Milan kind of, dude. I just don't see how they improved. They had Gomez, watching wasn't a big factor. Actually, Cisse, the youngster, had to
That's a
come
pretty
in and
goal.
actually show them how it's done. Great
Yeah.
goal from the youngster, someone that Amorim, the new manager, has taken a liking to, is actually given some time on the pitch, and the youngster paying it forward, scoring a nice goal. And then another one that I don't know why Amorim kept him on the bench. Rabiot came in and made a huge difference, not only in the pass for Cisse's goal, but Rabiot getting his own goal as well, keeping his streak alive against Torino. Rabiot seems to always find the net against Torino. And
Crazy,
then
right?
Torino at least had one goal, which I thought was the goal of the match day. That was
Yeah,
just a
that was just ridiculous,
ridiculous
bro.
fucking goal, dude. It's like, yeah, it's really good when you celebrate like that, even though you know you're gonna lose
Yeah, bro.
the game. But that was such an amazing goal.
Yeah,
The skill level to be able to hit that on the volley while spinning around and put it top bins like that.
that was a great
That
goal.
was,
That's
in my opinion, the goal of this match day, and to kick things off
Shea
before
Adams.
Chalanoglu and a couple of more. Yeah,
Yeah, I like I
Shea
like
Adams.
I like the Espositos. Like I'm choosing Pio's
Oh,
goal. Just
Esposito's goals was amazing, but
be
I think in terms of difficulty, that
but
one takes the cake.
but I'm counting the whole play, and what Andy
Yeah,
Diaz did on the wing before the goal was
and it
almost as
started with
good as the
Esposito's
goal, man.
hold up play. I
Yeah.
gotta say, Esposito. You talked about it with Boga, right? Maybe having an issue if he plays well with figuring out when Yildiz comes back what to do. Esposito is gonna if Turam and Lautaro don't get their shit together, mainly Turam,
Bro,
he might be in
Esposito is the
danger because
starter now. Esposito is the starter.
and his hold up play is the best out of all four strikers at Inter. Glad to see because we need him for in the national team.
Yeah.
But an amazing goal by Shea Adams on this one against Milan, getting the victory, but not convincing. I don't think that they're better than last season. And if anything, I feel that they're gonna struggle with consistency. That there's gonna be a point in the season where the likes of Modric and Rabiot start getting tired, and they're not gonna have players to replace them.
Yeah.
Nice to see Musa back and getting a nice setting up the second goal and making that pass to Rabiot, who then put it in for Cisse for the first goal. I think But I think again, like Napoli, I don't have a lot of faith in Milan this season. Unfortunately, I think they'll contend for Europe, but I don't think they're gonna end up contending for the title this season.
Yeah, no, neither do I. I don't think they're going to be anywhere close. I think, contending for Europe, again, it's going to be harder than people think this season because honestly, Inter's a shoe in, right? And I think Roma, the way that Roma are looking, might be another, another tough nut to crack. And
Yes, sir.
then you got Juve, Milan, Como, uh, basically Juve, Milan, Como, and Napoli fighting for those spots.
I mean, yeah, I mean, we
It's going to
gotta
be
wait,
rough,
but I
man.
think those three teams, right? Milan, Como, and Napoli, kind of were in my on my side the more disappointing teams. I hope it changes because I do want a competitive Serie A season.
Yeah.
But if this is a reflection of what to expect, I think this may be a runaway season. Maybe have 1 and 2 and then a big gap, or 1, 2, 3 and then a big gap. I don't think there's going to be a lot of contenders.
I don't know, man.
I can be wrong, and I
I,
hope
th-
I'm wrong.
I think it's gonna be like I said, like Napoli's gonna be there, like very very close up until maybe February or so, and then they're gonna fall the hell off.
Nope, nope,
Um,
dude.
and
Allegri,
then
Allegri.
that's what I mean because Allegri's gonna take them there. It's gonna take them very close, just like he did with Milan. And you thought, oh my God, they might be even title contenders, and then he's gonna fuck everything up, like towards the end of the season for sure, for sure. This is gonna happen. And I think the title is gonna be. This is gonna be sound crazy, maybe, but I think the title ultimately is gonna be between Inter and Juve. I know it sounds nuts, but
Oh, wow, that is a surprise.
yeah, but because the
We'll
reason
talk
I,
about it during the
yeah,
predictions, but
yeah,
damn.
I'm just saying.
I was expecting a little bit more pessimism
n-
on your side
No,
as
no,
far as
no, no,
Juve's hopes this season.
no, 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 no.
That's good. That's
This
good.
this
I
season's gonna
like
be
it.
different. This season's different.
I like it.
This is different.
We had
Uh,
Atalanta played against Sassuolo.
that's
Two
a pretty good
teams that
match.
I enjoy watching. 2-1 victory for Sassuolo on this one.
Yeah.
Raspadori's goal was freaking amazing. Funny because before he scored the goal, the ball hit him in the face. You can see right there,
Yeah,
which was a little bit
that's
funny.
pretty funny. He like turned around like,
But he certainly made it up after getting the ball back, just scoring an absolute
damn.
rocket.
Yeah,
Uh, Hitting the crossbar. Nothing for the keeper to do on that one. Again, not celebrating it because he was playing against his former team in
yeah,
Sassuolo. Crazy how much talent Sassuolo have through their path through the ranks and going to other teams. But great goal by
yeah.
Raspadori on that one. Lapsadaisical goal for Atalanta in the back when Sassuolo equalized. Not sure what happened with the defense there. They kind of fell asleep a little bit. And then an assist from the goalkeeper
Yeah, what the hell
for the
was that?
second goal.
But what's the defender doing
Not the
though on
best
that
finish.
play, bro?
He
Like,
was actually pretty. Kirstovic was pretty lucky with that finish. I think that's why he didn't celebrate it as much. Um, but gave Atalanta the victory. Atalanta, I think they're gonna have their typical Atalanta season. They lost some players. They got some players. I think they're gonna be a contender for Europe, but I don't think they're gonna be in the hunt or be contenders for the Scudetto, unfortunately.
no, man. I mean, I think even Europe is gonna be tough for Atalanta, honestly, this season, just because of how the other squads are operating, and you can't rule out Fiorentina, even though they started badly, and we haven't talked about that match. But
Nah, yeah, that's one of the matches that we'll talk about. But surprising Sassuolo, I would have loved to see Grosso stay there for another season. I think he did well
did a good
last
job.
season
Yep,
at Sassuolo.
yep.
Good job for Atalanta. Atalanta just hopefully they stop making changes, especially at the manager's spot. Get some consistency. I think what saves them is that they have some good young talented players and a couple of solid veterans.
Their back
So
office
they were able to walk away with
is
3 points
always
from
good,
this
you know. Atalanta has the
one.
strength of the back office. They have Sassuolo too. Sassuolo is another team that's very well managed. You know what I mean? Like they are very good at finding talented young players or lesser known players to buy for not that much money, and then they sell them for like 30, 40, 25. Like they're really good
Yeah,
at
they're
doing that.
great at scouting and developing young players, players that didn't live up to expectations in other teams, like Ade
Yeah.
Cannavale when he joined Milan, has done amazing at Atalanta. Atalanta again think are going to be competing for a European spot. I don't think Sassuolo will be there, but I think Sassuolo are going to be safe in somewhere in the mid-table this season.
Yeah, I
Then we
agree.
had two other mid-table teams playing in Bologna and Lazio. Lazio, with their new player Davide Fratesi, who didn't take long to make an impact in his
Yeah.
new squad,
Damn, man. Like,
scoring the first goal of the season.
and the winner.
Happy for Fratesi and the winner. Happy for Fratesi. Obviously, he wasn't getting that much playing time at Inter. And I think he just didn't fit Inter's playing style and what they needed with the other options that they had. So I'm happy for him. Obviously, it sucks because Gattuso, we know, didn't get off to a great start, getting eliminated already from Coppa Italia.
That was crazy,
Uh,
bro.
yeah.
The
So
hell.
glad for him that they were able to get the victory on this one because I think a loss against Bologna to open up their campaign as well, that would have been two automatic red flags
Yeah.
uh, for Gattuso as
And
the new manager at
and it's
Lazio.
it's Bologna. It's not an easy team either that you're playing.
But I think
But
Lazio, right? They lost players like Mario Hila. I think that's going to be a huge loss for them when he went over to Milan to boost their defense. So I think they lost some players. Yeah, and they got Fratesi in, but I think Lazio is going to be the same or even a little bit worse. I'm sorry to say this season versus last season.
yeah, I mean, honestly, like I wouldn't be judging them so harshly so soon. I think it's gonna take a little bit of time for Gattuso to do his thing, but I think he understands Italian football, and Lazio is a team, with some resources, and their owner is a hole, but he's got a lot of contacts in the league and stuff like that, so he can
Yeah,
get
but
favors.
I think right now on paper with what they have, right, I just don't think they have enough to be contenders for the title for sure. And in my opinion, I haven't seen enough to even have them competing for a European spot. Maybe I'm wrong, and they'll get it together and start playing
Yeah.
a little bit better. But I haven't seen anything to make me think differently thus far. Again, happy for Fratesi and getting the his first goal with Lazio and the game winner to start off the season. But I think I was
It,
expecting a little bit more from like Rovella or Cancellieri,
Yeah, it's
right?
just
So some of
roster
their other
wise, they're
players.
not. I mean, I don't think Lazio is a contender roster wise. Like, if you just look at their roster and you think about like whether a team with that list of players can make it to Europe in today's Serie A, I don't think
No,
so.
nope. Yeah, but walk away with at least 3 points to start off their season. So, and again, after getting eliminated from Coppa Italia, I'm glad they were able to turn it around for Gattuso's sake. But I think the team that impressed me the most, because I felt I was kind of expecting for Inter to demolish Monza, Roma against Fiorentina. I had higher hopes for Fiorentina going into this one, even though for me, I think Roma is certainly a title contender this season. I think it's going to be more if they're able to stay healthy. And one of the main contributors in this match, Paulo Dybala, ex-Juventino, had a hat trick of assists. Right, he
Yeah,
had Male score a hat trick in his opener, but Dybala had a hat
but
trick of assists. Starting with
Dybala
that
took
one,
on
that was a
four defenders
beautiful
on that
run,
one.
beautiful run by Dybala, and a beautiful move by Malen to secure the first goal for Roma. If he could stay healthy, I think that's going to be a very dangerous duo with
Yeah,
Roma. They were able to keep Manu Kone, which I think is very important for Roma as well. They get Wesley back from injury, right? Mora seems to be a player that is going to fit in nicely in Gasperini's kind of playing style and with his tactics. That was, in my opinion, De Gea should have had that goal. A goalkeeper of his quality
that's
shouldn't get
pretty
beaten in
hard.
the first post, but it was
Like, he
rough.
was over his head. Like, that's the only place you can get beaten. Like,
Good
either
shot
that
from
or
Malen,
under the legs.
and I don't know what's going on since Malen joined. Obviously, the player that has
Malen's a
scored the most
monster,
goals
bro.
since joining the Serie A in January.
Yeah,
We all know that probably if he would have started the season at Roma last season, he probably would have been the Capocannoniere. Tapping again, great 1-2 play with Dybala.
yeah, man.
Dybala puts it on a platter for Malen. Just great match. Again, for me, the bigger question for Roma is going to be: can Dybala stay healthy? Can he at
Yeah,
least play three-fourths of the season, not even the entire season?
yeah,
But that's for me. I think that's what's going to be key for Roma. If they can have Dybala and Malen playing in this form,
yeah.
they're going to be a problem for everybody in this area,
That
including Inter. And I think they are going to be contenders for the title this
that
season.
was a very good hustle goal by Pisigli there at the end as well. You know, so they've been doing. I mean, I like the way that Roma put their team together. The only thing that
Yep.
could derail Roma this season is if they sell Manu Kone. There's rumored
Mm,
interest from the Premiership. So that's always hard to fight off because of the money they got. But let's see. Maybe the player
and
wants to
it's a
stay.
hard player to replace. But if they're able to keep him,
Impossible.
because one thing that Roma were last season, they were very consistently defensively and with their midfield. So if they are able to keep Kone, I think right with getting Wesley back again, if Dybala can stay healthy, I think again Mora is a nice addition because he is kind of has similar qualities to Dybala. Obviously, Dybala way better player,
And he plays in
um,
different side because
but
Mora's not left footed.
yeah, but it adds something to Roma. I think compared to the other teams, I think they did add a little bit to their squad. But then I think, like you said, if Manu Kone does leave the squad, I think they're gonna kind of take a step back there because
Yeah.
that's gonna be a hard spot to fill out.
He's way more important than a lot of people realize for the way that this team plays. You know.
But I think again, very not that surprised, but more with Malen getting the hat trick and Dybala getting a hat trick of assists. And this one, just solid performance, surprise really by Fiorentina. I think Kata had a good match. Kane coming off the bench,
Yeah.
we called it before,
He might be
maybe
leaving.
because he may be leaving the squad. I think that's crazy because as soon as he came in, he started producing chances for
Yep.
Fiorentina.
Yeah, it was different.
They Mastantuono was disappointing in his first outing. I
Do
think
you, do you,
Kata
do you
again
think
showed a
that's
little bit.
do you think
Mastantuono
that's probably the
left a little
most
bit.
overrated player in the last like 3 years, or is it Cold Miners? It might be Cold Miners, but Mastantuono. When he went to Real Madrid, it was like, oh my God, Real Madrid are signing like the next, Esteban Cambiaso or whatever. I don't know who they thought they were signing, but it was like a big freaking deal. It's like such a young kid goes straight to Real Madrid, and he just couldn't. Like the Real Madrid is similarly to Juve have missed a lot of big transfers because Endrick was also a big bust for them. Um,
But Hendrik then went to Marseille and had a pretty to Lyon, sorry, and had a pretty good season at Lyon.
Yeah, but for Madrid,
Was it
like
Lyon or
everybody
Marseille?
plays well in France. Like Lois Openda went back to France and he scored in the first game back, but he can't score in
Yeah.
Italy to save his life. Everybody scores in France. There's no defense there. I don't know what happens. All the good defenders
Let's
from
see. It's
France
a
play somewhere
first
else.
match, and at least I would say that they did play one of the better teams in the Serie A in Roma,
Yeah,
which I think Gasperini has got to give him his flowers. He's done a great job since taking over the team, going into his second season now. And again, I feel that they are going to be a contender this season, and we can kind of take a look at match day two matchups, because that was the last match for match day one. Obviously, the key matchup next go around is going to be Napoli versus Como. Not expecting any surprises out of the rest of the matchups moving into next weekend. That's the one that I'm certainly going to keep an eye on the most. But obviously, it's going to be continue to see, be interesting to see if Juve can get a little bit better, especially up front. See now with the Yildiz out, if Milan can be consistent and play a little bit better, and some of the other teams like Lazio, right? Let's see what happens with Lazio. But I think Roma from what I've seen right now, I think are going to be contending for the
Yeah,
title this season. So
they just they just look
we
ready,
should probably
you
give
know.
it away, right? Because as far as my predictions for this Serie A season, I would have Inter at the top of the table defending their championship. I thought that it was going to be kind of a runaway season for Inter, but honestly, after seeing Roma and with Gasperini and knowing how well they played last season, I think again, if they're able to stay healthy, I think they're going to be contenders. But it's going to be interesting to see as well with them having Europe as well, how that's going to impact right their performance in the Serie A. But I would say 1 through 5, and then you could give yours. I would say Inter, Roma. I would have Juve third. Then I would have Milan fourth, and then I would have Napoli fifth. I think actually Como is gonna take a little bit of a step down and get humbled this Serie A season.
I tend to similarly, right? Like I think my prediction is Inter is gonna be unchallenged. Probably they're gonna, unless barring any major injury to an unreplaceable player, which Inter doesn't really have a lot of those. I think barring any injury to somebody like DiMarco, where they probably their goal
I was gonna say
production.
probably Di Marco would be the biggest impact, or
Yeah,
Barella
yeah,
maybe.
yeah. But even Barella, I think they could probably survive
They
without.
can
Just
figure it out with all the
yeah,
different
just
midfielders that they have. Yeah,
yeah.
but I
But I,
think
I,
Di
I think
Marco
in
just brings
DiMarco
something
because
that
he's a source of scoring, and when you
yeah,
lose like a source
he's
of
a huge
scoring,
threat,
you can have problems.
and
So I
he's
think
the reigning Serie A MVP for a reason.
barring any injuries to DiMarco or somebody like that, I don't know that Inter have another player that's actually like that. But barring any injuries to key players, Inter is gonna be unchallenged, in my opinion. They're probably gonna win like easily this season, and I think because they don't really have to fix anything. If you look at the team from last year, just their Champions League performance. But that's gonna
Yeah,
be always gonna be a problem when you're playing that formation in Europe. But we'll see how it
yeah,
goes this year. And then I think Juve are gonna come in second. The reason I say this is even last season where it was a complete disaster and the team was in disarray and we didn't really have a lot of players in a lot of key positions, Spalletti was able to to be one of the teams that won the most amount of points like since he joined, right? Like I think after Inter, he's probably second or third. And I think having the team since the start, being able to work with them throughout the summer, they brought 7 players in. That's not a small amount of players. One of the players they brought in, Seki Celik, I think was like an amazing pickup. They picked him up from Roma. That's why I don't have Roma second, because I feel that Roma, as good as they are, Roma, like you said earlier, are susceptible to Dybala or Malen getting injured. Any of those two
yeah. If
players,
Malen gets injured, forget about it. If Dybala, it's a huge blow. But if Malen goes
yeah,
down,
yeah. But you saw Dybala had a hat trick of assists. Dybala is like kind of like Lautaro and Di Marco. He's like a source of goals. Like if you
yeah,
lose him, you lose part of why the offense works. So like if you lose Dybala at Roma, you don't really have another lefty like him. You have
yeah,
other
and they
offensive
don't have
players, but
they don't have a dependable number 9, right?
yeah,
That's
if
still.
Malen is gone, they're screwed. So
I was still surprised about that. They did bring in Santi Castro, which is another reason why Roma are
yeah,
dangerous. I even forgot that they even had him, and when they subbed him in, I'm like, "Holy shit! Are you kidding me?
yeah,
You have Santi off the bench." So
yeah.
Santi is actually a solid number 9, but I don't think he's
Not the same
there
type
yet
of
to start for a contender.
not the same type of player as Malen. I think,
So yeah, he wouldn't fully replace what Malen has been giving Roma since joining in January.
the thing that Malen is doing, and because you played the sport, it's like a feeling thing. It's like he's in the right team, in the right situation, in the right tactics for his style of playing. And I don't think any other player that doesn't have like his exact freaking qualities would be able to do the same thing he's doing because he's been doing it since last year. This is not a fluke, you know. And he came back in the first game. He gets a hat trick. How many scores he's gonna goals he's gonna score this
He
season?
scored the only hat trick in Serie A last season, and it took him one match to score a hat trick this season.
Exactly, exactly. So how many goals is he gonna get this season? If Malen stays healthy, Roma is gonna be a threat. But I don't know that anybody could be that consistent for an entire season without getting injured. Because honestly, if I was other managers, I would karate kid his ass. I'd be like, sweep the leg every time we play Roma,
Yeah,
you know, to try to get Malen out the picture because you eliminate Roma if you take him out. And then the other thing,
and that's why
Napoli,
it's going to be rough for Dybala to stay healthy as well, because he falls
yeah,
into that as well, right?
yeah,
It's
they
two
kick him a
players
lot.
offensively for Roma that you have to go after.
Yeah, and they not Malen that much, but Dybala likes to dribble. That's why he gets hit so much because you know he takes people on. So that's what happens when you're a player like that, just like Yildiz, fractured foot. Because you know, and do I think Yildiz's injury is gonna put a dent in Juve's chances? I don't think so because I don't think that Yildiz is like an essential player at Juve, like you know, Di Marco is at Inter. You know, we've dealt with injuries to Yildiz and you know, he does have make an impact, but last season he spent 3 months where he couldn't score. You know, so again, it's not the end of the world for us because we have Jeremy Boga. If we didn't have Boga, then I wouldn't know. But since you drop Boga in and very little changes, or it gets even better because Boga's more physical. You know, in my
Yeah, but
opinion,
I
wait, I
think for Juve, when you look at the center forward position as well, if something happens to Colomoni,
that's what I was gonna say. If he gets injured, but you know, if he gets injured, we still have Jonathan David, which is the striker we had last season, who is not an amazing striker, obviously, but he can at least do some hold up play, make the team. I think Jonathan David is gonna leave before the end of the transfer market, and I think Juve are either gonna bring in Sorloth or Mateta, the French striker. It might be him. I don't know yet, but I don't think Jonathan David's gonna stay at Juve and just be the second there. And then the other thing is Milik probably has to be placed somewhere. But still, I see Juve is gonna work it out. I feel this season
I
because
think Milik is not a bad option to have on the bench
yeah,
for
but
Juve.
there's never guarantee that he's gonna be healthy, right? So you can't count on that option because he might get broken for another 2 months, you know. And that's the problem with some of these players. You don't know if they're gonna be healthy. Because Douglas Luiz is looking great. We don't know if he's gonna be able to continue playing at that level when he start playing twice a week.
Do you think Moise Kean will end up going to Como?
Yes, yeah. The reason I think that is because he didn't start the first match and he's healthy and we know he's healthy. The only reason he
I
didn't
think
start the first
that
match is
may
because he's
change
leaving.
my opinion, because if Moise Kean joins Como, then I would probably have them finishing
That's the dangerous thing
either
now.
fourth or fifth.
I mean, I don't know that Como with Moise Ken puts them over. Well, I think it puts them over Napoli and Milan. Maybe, yeah, probably. I would still think like first Inter's gonna win. Juve, I think Juve are gonna be second. Roma are gonna be third, and I think the fourth spot is what everybody else is playing for. The fourth spot is gonna be. I don't know how Amorim's gonna do, but I suspect he's gonna fall off at some point. You know, Allegri is pretty consistent. I think maybe it might be a situation where Allegri challenges up until February, and then in February he falls off and ends up
I
fourth.
think both, maybe
You know,
both. If Moise Kean joins Como, it may be a case where Milan and Napoli are contending for that fourth spot, and Como may kind of sneak in at the end of the season and finish in that last Champions League spot.
but the biggest question mark about Como is how they handle the Champions League calendar because they haven't done that before.
Yeah,
It's a
yep.
completely new thing for them.
That's why even more so they should get Moise Kean, because that's another body to have for
So
a tough
excellent.
calendar
That's an excellent
season for
striker.
him.
What I would love to see, to see Moise Ken finally playing a team that plays football and plays offensive football, and where he's gonna get multiple chances. You know what I mean? Instead of having to like just carve out chances with Fiorentina the way he's been having to do. And when he played at Juve, he never got chances, right? Because they're stupid. So I want to see what he can do playing with, you know, with Como and that style of play there.
So another player that wasn't even in the squad for Liverpool was Chiesa. Do you see Chiesa joining any Italian side before the end of the transfer market?
I mean, not he makes too much money is the problem, right? So I think the only team,
Do you think he wouldn't be willing to take a pay cut to come back to Italy and actually play?
no, he doesn't make that much money.
Wow.
I don't know. I think Chiesa likes money. Otherwise, he would have left Juve before. I think he's not coming back to Juve unless, I mean, they might bring him in to sub for Kenan, who's injured. Like I wouldn't. That wouldn't be a terrible thing. Like to replace Yildiz for. I would take him like on a 6 month loan or something, and just give him back in Christmas. But like to replace, to just to have another backup for Yildiz. Um, but but I don't think any other team in the Serie A. The only team that could afford him is Inter. Inter don't need him, don't want him, not even interested. The other team would be Napoli. I don't. Where is he gonna play? You know what I mean? Even in Napoli, you gonna Alexon Santos? You gonna put him on the bench? I don't know, man. Like I
Mm,
don't know. It might be Napoli because I think he gets along well with Allegri, but I have no idea what's gonna happen, man. Like Thiago Mota was the one who put him out of the team. Allegri played him when he was there. So if the only scenario I could possibly see is him going to Napoli on loan, because Napoli are not gonna pay
but
like
other than that, right, I think the KC transfer, if he does join Juventus, I think that would be a boost for Juve. Obviously, if Kane does join Como, I think that would be a huge boost. I think out of
true.
the kind of the ones that have we've been hearing for a while, I think those two are kind of the two potential transfers that may be left that actually can have uh, an impact on the
Yeah,
team that signed them.
yeah. Atalanta signed Elmas, which was a pretty good pickup for their
Mm.
midfield. Um, you know, he's a solid player. I don't know that he's gonna be like a difference maker, but honestly, like as far as midfielders go, the market isn't really that.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
I think Atalanta will do what Atalanta does, and they will end up with a European spot. I don't think they'll be contending. I may be wrong for a Champions League spot. They did Ederson. I know came back and is still at Atalanta. Right, if they bring in Elmas, right, still a very dangerous team. I think they'll probably be even a little bit more consistent than Napoli and Milan, so they might
yeah.
sneak in there. I just think Milan and Napoli are a little bit better as far as the players that they have. But I think Atalanta again will do what they usually do, which is contend for a European spot. But I don't see them contending for the title at all. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, but we'll let you know here in Serie Addicts. We appreciate everybody for joining us for the first episode in the WeKickBalls channel with the mobs. It's going to be
26,
live.
27. Like,
Uh,
oh, check it out. This is beautiful. I'm gonna put a link down there if you want to get your own Wicked Balls mug and support the channel. You could do so. And thank you for joining us. And remember to like, subscribe, comment, and love or hate whatever is all good.
and stick with us for the rest of the Serie A season. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. We'll be here next week to give our reaction and talk about match day 2. But again, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. We're Michael Romano and Tito Yan. Thanks for joining us, and peace.
Peace.